Have you ever wondered what it takes to get hired to really land that job? Or have you ever wondered how to hire and do it well? Maybe you're new to hiring, or maybe you are out there looking to land the next position. If you've ever been curious what it takes and what people actually look for in a successful candidate, then keep watching. Hi, I'm Debbie, and welcome back to Behind the Scenes, where I spill the tea on all of those career related things that no one ever really tells you, but they exist. So, welcome. Okay, hiring or being hired. So, here's a little bit of experience from my perspective. I've been working in my current career for 26 plus years. I've hired many people, and I've been not only the hiring manager, but on hiring boards. And I've seen how several different companies, the approaches that they take and what they do to try to select the best candidates for a role. And so here's some of that background and insight. I look for four things. Actually, I look for several things, but four main things. Number one, I look for their energy. Two, I look for examples, specific examples from them so that I can detect what it is that they've done from an experience standpoint. Three, I look for value creation, what it is that they've done to bring value in their prior roles. And then finally, I also look at technical skills. And I really look at things in that order. So that is in order of importance for me. You might think that the technical skills are, why are they so low on the list? Why are they the last thing on the list? And the simple answer to that, or the short answer, is you can teach technical skills to most people, depending on what the job is. But if we start at number one, energy, what does that look like? So the energy that I'm looking for in somebody is, do they have the hunger and drive to do this job? Are they going to bring passion to it? Is it something that they are excited about and they're going to bring that energy with them, which will end up being positive and contagious for the team that they're getting ready to join? That to me is one of the most important things. And it goes into how the person is going to fit in the organization culturally, which I'll get into a little bit later. But that is one of the main things that I find very important, because energy, the energy that somebody brings to the table, is going to add to your team or it's going to subtract from your team. Most people are putting on their best possible front, right, when they're in the interview process, unless they really don't particularly want the job or they've already met with a few people that maybe have not left a good impression on them. So if we're assuming that people are putting their best self forward, then the energy that they're giving you should be representative of what they're going to bring to the team going forward. Yes, people are during interviews bringing you their best self or what they believe their best self is. They're trying to impress you for sure. But you can really tell if somebody is excited about a certain opportunity or not. And so that's what I'm looking for. Is this person excited? Because if they are really excited and they have a lot of intrinsic motivation to do the job and to do it well, and it's something that they're excited, they're just simply excited about, that will take them further than somebody who has all of the experience already but doesn't have the same level of excitement for the job. You will find that the more experienced person is likely going to be more complacent and may not add the dynamic that you want if you're looking to add to or invigorate a team. So that's the reason that energy is at the top of my list. For those of you who are looking for a job and not just hiring, think about this. Think about, is the role something that you really truly are interested in? Do you like the people that you're meeting in that interview? Do you feel, based on the interview series, that you could be a good fit culturally in that company? Could you be happy there? If you feel that you can, then let that excitement or enthusiasm come out. I mean, obviously, still be professional and appropriate in the discussions in the interview, but don't be afraid to show that you have excitement for the role. And don't be afraid to say why. You might get asked, what makes you interested in this role? Well, here's why. I believe that this fits into what I'm passionate about, and here's why I'm passionate about it. Understand why it is that you want that job, and then demonstrate that you have the energy and drive to bring to the table in that role. So second, I look for examples. when I'm getting to know people in the interview process, I've already pre-read their resume, and I can tell that there's a base set of experience, or maybe there are a few items on their resume that I want to ask specifics about, because it depends on what that person did and how that item ended up on their resume. So when I say examples, I'm looking for specific examples. What did you do in this particular project, or whatever the line item is from the resume? Tell me what your role was in that. Was this person just being told what to do? Did they come up with the solution themselves? Did they identify a problem and work to resolve it? What did they do? And here is where many companies use the STAR methodology to try to get to this. It's an acronym: situation, task, action, and result. What was the situation? What did you do? What was the task you had to do? What was the action taken? And then what was the result? That's the point of the STAR methodology that you'll see at some companies. They are trying to get to the root of, what did you do? What was your role in this particular project? So as a hiring manager, sometimes it's hard to detect how active their role was, because many projects obviously take several people to complete. And what you want to do is get into the specifics of, were you leading this? Were you a consultant? Were you a project member? Were you told what to do? You want to understand and dig deep here to understand, what does this mean? On a side note, a lot of people will use the term we. We did this, we did that. And what I've found through experience, and even with myself, I manage a team of over 150 people. And so I often say we, because I didn't do all the work ever in that situation, but I'm the one that led them or described what I wanted done. And so I say we. And so that makes sense. Sometimes you have to dig a little bit deeper to understand, what does we mean if the person is using that term. That doesn't mean automatically that they weren't the one that came up with the idea. So just dig deep to figure out what that actually means. And then for candidates, keep that in mind. If somebody's asking you, hey, what did you do? Come to that interview with examples of exactly what it was that you did. And it's okay to say, well, in this particular role, I wasn't the one in charge of making the decision for X, Y, and Z. However, I was responsible for this part of that, and that's what I did. And that's pretty reasonable. People will expect that depending on the level that you're at. Just the most important thing, though, is to bring to the table exactly what you did so that you can articulate that. Okay, so we went through energy, examples. The third thing I look for is value. What value is this person bringing to the roles that they've been in? And you can find that out by asking some of those generic questions, like, give me a time where you developed a solution for blah, blah, blah. It can be anything. You can ask those types of questions, or you can go through the resume and just ask specifics on any of the things that are listed. But what you're looking for here under the value section, or at least what I look for, is the thought process. What does the person bring to the table in terms of thought process? Do they have a strategy type mindset? Keeping in mind that, again, the level of strategy or strategic thinking is going to change depending on the type of role. Some roles are just not strategic roles, but even the non-strategic role of somebody like, let's just say, like an operator in a manufacturing environment, they're largely being told what to do, but they also have the ability to raise their hands and say, is this really the best way that we could do this? Can we do something different, right? They might also have examples of how they brought value to the positions that they've been in. And that's what I'm interested in seeing. And it kind of ties back to the first piece. What type of energy does the person have? Do they have the energy to actually look around and make it better? That's what you're looking for. Again, if you are applying for a role, come with examples on how you brought value to the company or to your department or whatever it was, on whatever scale it was. Look at your career and just be prepared to, with some examples of what you did that added to the environment that you were in. It could even be something along the lines of you were an integral team building type person and you were the person that helped the team become more cohesive. It could be something like that. It doesn't even have to be specifically job related, although you should also have examples of that. And then finally, the last thing that I look for is technical skills. Is the person qualified? Okay, mostly if they are in the interview to begin with, we know that the technical skills are there basically. And then we're looking for, does the person fit into the organization? Would they be a solid addition from a personality standpoint, from a drive standpoint, from a problem resolution? How do they deal with problems? Those types of personality things. And then even if you nail all of these in the hiring process, you're still going to end up with some surprises once you're working with the person from a day-to-day. But technical skills, yes, they're important, but they most likely wouldn't even be in the interview to begin with if they didn't have them. And just keep that in mind for those of you seeking certain roles. I am not one to give resume advice necessarily because I feel like the requirements for resumes it's left up to the opinion of whoever's reading it. And it's almost, at this point, I feel a little useless almost to have a resume. People want to see it. You need to have one, but it's really working through networks and meeting people that you really end up finding positions that you end up being interested in. Anybody can end up with a resume that looks impressive. But on that note, because people can fake resumes pretty well, you do want to ask some specifics around technical capability, enough to understand the baseline amount of what you need that person to know in order to hire them for the job. There are people who are creative and very aggressive at getting jobs when they shouldn't have them. And so it is very important that you get at least a baseline understanding of what they know and then move from there based on the other items we talked about, their energy, the examples they've been able to give, the demonstration of value that they've brought to the organization, and then you can kind of go from there. So I hope this made sense and helped. If you are out there looking for a job, I know it's not easy right now, but keep these things in mind. Keep in mind how it is you represent yourself as a person, because many times it's really who you are and whether or not they like you that stands out more so than necessarily the resume and the full list of everything that you've done. They want to know that you're going to be a good part of the team and you're going to add to what's going on in the company. So I hope this helped. I hope this helped those of you who are learning how to hire. There are some nuances to it, and I think that with time and practice, you'll get pretty good at it. You will always be surprised by who it is that you hire. Once they're comfortable and they're engaged, you get to learn what they do know and don't know and where they need a little bit of refinement. And that's okay. We all kind of function that way. But yeah, just keep these things in mind and good luck out there to all of you. We'll see you next time. Bye.